All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. All right, going to be talking about Dolly Parton singing rock songs and then my opinion on that. But before we get there, here's a woman who can actually sing rock and roll. Her name is Kane. The album's called Power Zone. This is melodic rock. Really in the style of Lita Ford and Vixen, and it is so on target. I mean, this is the real deal. Great songs, too. You can listen to this from start to finish and feel like you've time traveled back to 1989. So there you go, Kane. She's all over YouTube doing concerts, and she's also singing duets. She did one with Eric Gronwell, the current lead singer of Skid Row. They did the song Alone by Heart. Go listen to that. That's how you do it, okay? That's how you do it. Kane, Power Zone, real nice lady. I've had her on the show a couple of times, and she just very nice. It's good that there are some nice people left in the world. Now, on to Dolly Parton. Sorry about the segue. I'm not saying Dolly is bad. First of all, Dolly Parton has a great voice, number one. Number two, Dolly Parton is a legend. She's an icon. She's done everything you can do in a life. She's 77 years old, and she's covering a bunch of rock songs because, I was going to say Rolling Stone, but it's the same thing. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame decided to honor their diversity, equity, and inclusion, and again, bring in another woman who's clearly outside the genre of rock and roll. And that's not really debatable. Yes, you can cite like duets with Kenny Rogers and stuff like that. It's pop. That's all pop music. It's all crossover. 9 to 5, kind of an R&B, bluesy kind of thing. Pop, though, for the most part. And that was a long, long time ago. I mean, if that's your contribution to the rock and roll side of things, it's a very weak argument to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. But she was, even though she said, no, don't put me in there. So now, because of all of that, she felt obligated to record this rock album. And she's doing all the big rock standards. She's got a version of Stairway to Heaven ready to drop. And now, today, she's dropped We Are the Champions and We Will Rock You. The thumbnail to this song is a little distracting as Dolly Parton is standing on top of a star, and the point of the star is in a certain place, and I don't know if they planned it that way, but it is uncomfortable to look at. Now, Rockstar, the entire album, doesn't come out until November 17th. Talk about a lead up to an album. And includes A-list people like Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, Steven Tyler, Steve Perry, Sting, Stevie Nicks, Richie Sambora, Elton John, Peter Frampton, and more. Not sure who more is, but I'm sure they're really good. No, I'm just kidding. So today it was We Are the Champions and We Will Rock You. Now, granted, I listened to about 45 seconds of it, and my brain, which isn't always working properly these days, immediately came to the conclusion that Dolly Parton cannot sing rock and roll. Just like I don't think Freddie Mercury could sing country. Although Freddie Mercury could probably sing opera. I could hear Freddie Mercury singing jazz and things like that. He had a really special, really interesting voice. This is why, in some cases, you shouldn't tamper with a song like this. And especially if you're really not from the genre. I know there's this argument that if it's a weird cover, it makes it okay. Now, the music is fairly straightforward in the song, doesn't deviate that much from what you'd expect. However, vocally, I'm just hearing the country diva with her Appalachian hillbilly sounding voice. And by the way, I love her voice. I don't have an issue with her voice. She's starting to age, so you hear a little bit of the creakiness around the edges, but she can still belt it out like nobody's business. I mean, for 77, she is a freak of nature. Wouldn't it have been a better idea, right? Here's the way I'll be diplomatic here. Rather than doing an all-out, like we're going to take the biggest songs in the rock and roll songbook and record them, rather than doing that, how about you do kind of like a Americana album, like a John Mellencamp kind of thing, where you got a lot of acoustic guitars, you've got some really good original tunes, maybe you do a few covers, but for the most part, you're making an original rock album, and you're not trying to belt everything out. Alison Krauss and Robert Plant have been very successful with this kind of sound, although some people say it's bluegrass or whatever. I'm thinking Dolly could do kind of a mid-tempo, down the middle kind of rock presentation. And again, her voice might still be a little too country for that, but I think she could thread that needle and make it stick. But instead, she's decided, hey, we're just going to take these big songs. I mean, did she record Dream On with Steven Tyler? I'm wondering. I know that's on here. We know Open Arms by Journey is on this with Steve Perry, and I'm really interested to hear what Steve Perry sounds like on the track, more so than what Dolly sounds like. So that probably won't come out until November. So some of the other song choices: Let It Be by the Beatles, Stairway to Heaven, Every Breath You Take, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, Freebird. All right? I mean, these are just giant songs. It's like climbing Mount Everest and trying to sing every track. Some people are going to like it, and music is very subjective. I've learned this, and when I read comments, this is why comments to me are, most of the time, I just shake my head and I go, wow. Wow. This is the greatest thing since Freddie Mercury. No. And wrong answer. Not even close. My buddy Jeff Scott Soto might be able to sing the Queen stuff, and there are a few other people out there who can do it. I'm not saying this is embarrassing, but this isn't for true rock fans. I mean, if you're getting this because you love Dolly Parton, you have, listened to her your whole life, and you want to hear her sing these songs, then by all means, knock yourself out. Grab a copy, grab 2 copies, support the artist. I'm sure this isn't going to sell a lot. It's ironic because this album is being promoted on classic rock websites, classic rock radio stations. They're not going to touch this with a 10-foot pole like everything else. But hey, don't you want to honor what the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame did? She's a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Technically, every classic rock station should be playing this new material from Dolly Parton. But they're not stupid. They're not going to be playing this. There are a lot of other things, a lot of people who still put out music who they ignore, and bands that have come up through the ranks. I mean, the classic rock world is ebbing away, people. It's ebbing, and you look for something to grab onto, and this Rockstar album, this isn't it. So in any event, I do like Dolly as a person. She's a legend. She deserves all the accolades she gets, and technically there are worse people that you can put into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame than Dolly Parton. There are. But as far as, her credentials to be a rock star, little bit iffy. She's got the look on the album cover, and that star thing I told you about, it's a little edgy. But yeah, the material in there, when you open up that package and give it a listen, you have to be honest with yourself. This isn't what rock and roll is supposed to be. I mean, she is a great singer, but it's like the late Tony Bennett, right? Just passed away. Legend. Have you ever heard Tony Bennett singing rock and roll? I haven't. Maybe there is. I'm sure somebody will point out to me, yeah, Tony Bennett, 1965, recorded a rock album. You didn't know that? No, I didn't know that. But he's one of the great lounge singers, maybe the best ever. Although, you know, it's hard to beat Frank Sinatra, in my opinion. But, yeah, Tony didn't really... I mean, he did sing duets. I know Lady Gaga recently and all that stuff. But they were singing Tony's music. They weren't singing the other music, because Tony's voice was perfect for that stuff. And nobody was trying to put Tony into a box. I mean, you know, maybe the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame should put Tony Bennett in there, right? I mean, longevity award for living to 96 years old and performing very recently. I know he had a real bout with Alzheimer's and finally lost that battle, but 96 years old, that's just amazing. It's just sad we're losing these icons, and a lot of people probably thought Tony had already, met his maker, but just happened. So in any event, yeah, I'm going a little off the track here. Again, a woman who can sing rock and roll, and that's why I have this in the video. Kane, Power Zone. Great singer. This is melodic rock, that Vixen, Lita Ford. I mean, those are the two comparisons I have. Some people might even say a little Pat Benatar in there. But I think those two, that's what she's really shooting for. And it's definitely on target. So, again, if you're a fan of rock and roll, check it out. The stuff that I used to listen to back in the 80s. I know I'm really starting to date myself here with some of the stuff that I'm comparing this new material to. But those of you who watch the channel, you might get it. As far as Dolly Parton goes, it's interesting. I guess it keeps us talking about something, because in the rock world, there's not much going on. There's a lot of farewell tours going on, and a lot of folks that aren't healthy enough to even be on stage anymore. So again, it would be nice for this industry to kind of pivot and start to play some of the next generation music that is available. It's everywhere. Look behind me on the shelf, okay? That's just a small fraction of what's available to the music world if they decided that they were going to move in that direction. But it doesn't appear that they're going to. So you get Dolly Parton on their website instead. Anyway, thanks for watching. God bless y'all, and see you soon.